Last episode, we built our underwater power station using water turbines, and in this episode, we'll be using that power to work on getting a golden and terracotta factory set up in this mesa biome, bedding it into a custom designed mine. And I think I'd like to start digging out the land behind me here on this conveniently flat bit of terracotta here. This is definitely going to be the easiest spot to place in our tunnel to begin with. And I think a little simple entrance like that looks pretty good using some striped dark oak and a bunch of different dark oak stairs and things. Then I think I'd like to use some of these dark oak bridges from McCaw's just to kind of pull out from the actual mine entrance itself. Probably about that far out. And then I'm going to use some of these dark oak stockade fences to kind of underline it so that this isn't just floating about. And I'll use some shears to turn this around so that we have a nice open edge here, I think. And oh hey, a scoop, yoink. Then I more or less just need to make a bit of a short shaft, because what I'm planning to do here is to actually build a lift going down to a lower level, because right now we are kind of close to the surface, so I want to make sure I have enough room. And there we go. I'm probably going to have a 5x5 little lift here going down. I think the best way to probably mine that is to get some of our drills, as well as grab a pulley. So if we just attach our drills to the pulley, then I'm going to probably need to grab my power from our turbines in the distance over here. So let me set up a little temporary power line, I think, just until I decide exactly how I want to bring the power over there. There we go, that is the chains linked up, and we can actually grab onto these chains and make our way back to the mine. Oh, or not, because I apparently faced the wrong way. Oops. Must admit, I have not got to actually use this mechanic much until now. It's kind of fun. There we go. And now, hopefully, if I glue this all together, hook up this last bit of chain, should now start mining down. And I'm not entirely sure how far. Oh, wow, I'm really on the edge here, aren't I? I'm not sure how far I want this to go down. I guess I'm just going to kind of eyeball it as it goes. You know what? I think that's probably far down enough. And I think if I get ourselves a gearbox here and rehook this back up, we can bring the drills back up. There we go. And I can just more or less just remove this setup for now, because we're going to need to place in our stuff for our elevator. Although it would probably help if I actually cleared out the bottom of the elevator shaft so that we have somewhere to walk into. There we go. Just knocked out a bit of a small kind of cave looking room. It's obviously not decorated, but I'll do that once we actually get our elevator in. Okay, so for this elevator, we're going to need an elevator pulley. We just need to get ourselves some brass, some more kelp and iron, and I believe the way that these work is that we do need to use some redstone contacts at both the bottom and the top, or at least for every level. That way our elevator controls actually know where to go. So let's place our pulley down, preferably in the right direction, and come up with a bit of an elevator design. And I think for this, I am going to use a bunch more of this industrial plating, so I do like how it looks. So we just come out here and create a little bit of a platform. And I think I am actually going to place some redstone contacts here and use some copycat stairs to wrap around the bottom. Now I think I'll use some of these vertical stairs, as well as some of these copycat panels on each side with some of this floral iron bar pattern, because I like how that looks. And then we are going to need some of the contraption controls as well. And I'll just place that there. As for the top here, I think what I'm going to do is also use some more stairs, place some girders, and get this all nicely glued up together. Now, of course, I do need to set up a redstone contact below. I think we are going to need to lower this floor by one. and place a contact there. And now in theory, do I have to right click this or something? I think that worked. This is floor 0, or this floor 1, and then if we hit that, you come all the way down to this floor. Okay, perfect. You can even see the kind of belt going all the way up to the top. That was honestly a lot easier than I remember it being. Yeah, now we can very easily just move in between the floors. Perfect. Now I think the next thing I need to do is start building our next room over. Probably going to have a little bit of a tunnel here and into a big old room where we're going to have our actual gold and terracotta farm. And I think a room about this big should be good for now. As you can kind of see in the top right, we are in thermal caves, so we did hit a bit of blackstone and stuff, but at least we didn't hit any lava, so nothing to get in the way. Now, in order to actually make our gold, we have a bit of a 10-step process, more or less. We can get gold nuggets from red sand. That is the most efficient way of getting it. And you can get red sand from terracotta, and of course you can make terracotta from clay blocks, and you can make clay blocks from clay balls, and you can get clay balls from sand, sand from gravel, and then obviously gravel from cobblestone. And that's pretty much what this room is going to pretty much be. Now, of course, we need to first start with our item vault, our chutes on top, with all the cobblestone that they need. And for this particular generator, I actually want to use some waterlogged drills because I'm going to double the drills up on the sides and the top because I want this to go pretty fast, at least compared to my other cobblestone generators in the past. Now you just make sure that these are all connected up once again with some chain drives. Then of course I'll need to fill these drills up with some water, as well of course some lava to go in between. And that's pretty much the basics of what we need for that cobble gen. I think what I should do is come back up here and look into actually bring the power down underneath. Once again, this is probably not going to be a permanent solution, at least out here. But at least I can embed it into the walls just to bring the power where we need it. And with a little help of a rotational speed controller, we can get this going at full pelt. Though somehow the lava has managed to mess up. Let's try and fix this, shall we? Okay, yeah, the problem at hand is that I needed to place in another bit of lava here. And now it should all be working. There we go, perfect. And that should be generating cobblestone pretty quickly, although the item vault doesn't update too often. But yes, already have 1,000 cobblestone in there, so I think that's pretty quick enough for now. Now next we're going to need a ton of crushing wheels, which means probably going back home and just using our mechanical crafter. And I'm probably going to need about 12 of them, I've been thinking, because I need 2 sets of crushing wheels to get it to gravel and then to sand. And I want to do that about 3 times over. So let's head back, grab some andesite alloys. I'm going to need quite a bit of it. And go ahead and use our mechanical crafter over here. And there we go, there's our 12 crushing wheels. And I think what I actually also want to do is grab some ochrum, because there is a color variant of these crushing wheels, which I quite rather like, which is the ochrum crushing wheel. So if I start setting up a bit of a belt system over here and split this out probably into about 3 different ways, and then we can throw a brass tunnel down to split that out. And then of course we'll need all our gearboxes for each of the crushing wheels. With all the gearboxes in the right place, we can hook this back up, and that should keep them going at full speed. Although I do need to switch the direction of this. There we go. Everything should be going in the right direction now. And if I quickly just block off these belts so things don't go flying, throw down our brass funnel, and that can now start splitting all of our cobblestone up. As you can see, it's switching from gravel to sand pretty darn quickly actually. So that's good. And in fact, I may even switch this to force round robin just to make sure that 64 blocks goes in each time rather than being split into 3. Now, the next thing I need to do is set up a washing system, and we're going to need some fans for that. Luckily, we should have the resources for already. And it doesn't have to be particularly large. I need to set up some fans underneath and then also on the sides so that every spot gets at least 2 fans worth of cleaning. Then I just need to make sure that all of these are hooked up together. And if I just fill in this hole again, go down a item vault and get ourselves some more brass funnels to be placed down. I can set these up so that they take in clay and fill this area up with some water. And if we get this hooked up, now anything that enters here should be washed. So the next thing to really do is hook these belts up so that we can get it all moved into the wash basin. I think actually if I leave this a little bit back, that should hop up just high enough to fall in to the inside. Although I'm suddenly realizing that the bottom fans aren't running, so I think I just need to turn these around. Okay, there we go. I fixed it up so that the fans at the bottom are blowing actually downwards so that anything should get thrown into here. And we already have 76 clay balls, so that's a good start. We hook up these last bits of belt. That should now be all thrown into here to be washed and placed into our item vault here, which is filling up with clay balls rather quickly. Now, I must admit, I did make this room probably kind of the wrong size. I think I made it way too wide and not long enough. I think I've come up with a different solution for that. Because what I need to do after these clay balls is turn them into clay blocks and then smelt them essentially to turn them into terracotta. And what I may do is create a separate room over here, which has all the smelting done in, just to be a little bit more interesting. So I am just going to probably run in a belt going in this general direction. We'll probably mine out a little bit of another small cave room like this so that we can place in all of our smelting facilities, because I have a little bit of an idea of what I want it to look like. And I do plan on decorating this room, by the way. I'm not just going to leave it as a weirdly empty open room. I'm thinking of placing a bunch of blocks to also make this room look a bit more cave-like like the others. But we'll do that after our furnace is ready. And there is that room carved out. And conveniently, we did get a bunch of blackstone, which I did want to use for this. But I do specifically also want some gilded blackstone. And I think the only way to get that is from bastions in the nether. Now, there is this one kind of destroyed looking bastion over here. And I might be able to find some gilded stuff. Although it's totally possible I may have to go somewhere else. As although there is some here, it's looking a little bit bare. But if I quickly come down to this chest and look inside, nope, not really anything in there. Okay, couldn't see much in that bastion, so we'll have to go find another one. I did find one at some point that actually had my netherite upgrade that I found, which I still haven't used, but honestly, I don't really remember where that was. And even if I look at the map, this isn't really helping me that much either. I think we were just at this one. Okay, a bit more searching later and I have found another one. Though I'm not sure if I'm going to get any much more lucky with this. I must admit, I didn't realize how rare the gilded stuff was. But that's fine. I'll be able to maybe grab enough for what I need. Okay, I managed to get myself 32. Hopefully that will do for now. It's not going to be a particularly large build anyway, so... But I did just want it for some decoration. Of course, there is a scaly over here, which I'm going to have to be careful of because I do not have great armor. Okay, there we go. Got rid of him. Because he was next to the portal, I'm vaguely scared there's going to be another one on the other side. So, here's to hoping I don't die. Oh, there's a little piglin, but I'm not seeing anyone else, so that's good. Safe for now. Now, as for our furnace room over here, I do want to use some of this gilded blackstone to figure out how the bottom of this is going to look. And I do like this kind of reinforced brick style. And this room is pretty small. I may have to enlarge it a little bit. But I think a base like that should be fine. And then I more or less just want to use some of these blackstone bricks, going up with a bit of this kind of gilded blackstone as well. Just going to do that on all sides. Also kind of build across the different walls, because I also want to throw in some of these polished cut blackstone walls too, so that we can see onto the inside. And I'm definitely going to probably make this roof a little bit higher in spots, because I think I underestimated how tall I actually want this to be. And then I think on the sides I'm going to add some of these withered engraved glowstone, just because I like how it kind of matches with the rest of the coloring and also helps kind of light it up a little bit. And then we can throw in some walls up on the side too, just because I kind of like how that looks. And then as for the inside of this, I do just want to run a belt all the way directly through, because I definitely want this place to look extremely lit up. And I think I'm going to use a bunch of campfires on the inside, mainly because I like the smoke effect from it. You don't really get from lava, so I think this is the next best alternative. What I am going to have to do is place a bit of lava actually above and put some fans on top as well to blow the lava straight down, which should then cook any of the clay coming along here into terracotta. I do think it would still be nice on the sides here to have some blocks coming out with a bit of lava streaming out to kind of at least make it still look like it's a lava-powered furnace. Once again, I underestimate how large this thing is, to the surprise of absolutely nobody. Yes, so we can throw in some fans at the top here, without encased chain drives. And while trying not to burn myself on all these bloody campfires, I'm going to place down some copycat panels so we can actually place some lava on top of them. This is definitely proving to be a little bit difficult to place down. Probably should have placed those campfires last, but whatever. Then I think as long as I place some lava on each side, then yeah, the lava should move towards the middle and means that we get a nice good amount of cooking fans. And luckily these fans, it doesn't really matter how fast they're going, they will always cook at the same speed, but we're probably going to want to slow down this belt, which luckily I already made a couple of precision mechanisms for, so I can certainly start pulling away at this so we can get some belts going. I think what I might do here actually is place our rotational speed controller here, and therefore we can slow this down and bring that straight into our belt over here. Now I must admit, when I was designing this kind of like in my head, I didn't really think about actually how the fans on top were going to be hooked up, so this looks maybe a little bit ugly. I think maybe if we put some industrial iron on it, I think it'll probably look a little bit less ugly, at least. I think that at least blends into the background a bit better, and I could probably do that for these as well. Yes, with those fans turned on, this is now in theory cooking anything that goes through it. Now, I'm not going to walk in there because it's probably going to hurt a lot. I'm going to assume it's working. Now, of course, one thing I do need to do is make myself another basin as well as a mechanical press, because obviously we are going to need to crush our clay balls into clay blocks. And luckily that shouldn't be too difficult. So once it comes out of there, it should enter into this basin. And we can just use our chain drives to come up to the press. Now that is going to be pretty slow. I may have to move this over to work on the belt afterwards, just to make sure that this goes probably a little bit faster than it currently does. And I think something on this line should work, making sure that pretty much stays at full speed. Now, of course, these are moving quite slow, but we do have a bit of a backup in the item vault of clay balls, so I don't imagine there's going to be this many going. Once we kind of reach equilibrium, we should now start seeing the clay blocks moving through here, and hopefully it should be slow enough so that these should cook. Although, now that I'm looking at this, I might have to reverse the fans, because I think I actually need them to blow down, not up. I could just do that with a gearbox here just to reverse it around. And there we go. It's now blowing downwards like it should. So now as these pass through, it should be turning into terracotta. And yeah, it just finishes cooking by the time it makes it to the other end. So that's pretty much exactly what we needed. Now let me place some andesite casing here at the end just to stop that from being thrown off the end for now. And then I think I'm actually going to probably create one more cave room, probably coming somewhere off about here. That will do our last process of turning our terracotta into gold, and then we can turn those into gold ingots. And luckily, all I really need to do in here is bring in a belt line from the other room. And I essentially need to more or less split this line up into two. So I essentially just want one side to crush some terracotta coming through, and the other side to just let some terracotta through. So we're actually still holding on to both materials. We can use our brass tunnels to connect these, making sure none goes through the center and terracotta on the sides. Then of course we can bring that belt back together just to make sure that these all line back up. In fact, we can put some ochre on these as well so they match the crushing wheels in the other room. And I think actually I'm going to probably actually put these back just by one, just so there's enough room for the crushing wheel. And then I'll send that belt out all the way to the front. Although the first thing I need to kind of do is re-speed the belt up after it comes out of the system here. I think the best way to do that is probably split the belt. Have this come out the side here with a cogwheel. Then I can use an encased chain drive to connect those up. And we can put that all the way up to 256. Hopefully that should work quite nicely. If I switch this back around again, we can now see that it's going super fast. And then I just make sure that these are hooked up. And oh wait, I forgot a process. I forgot part of the process. I also need to change the red sand actually into the gold nuggets by washing it. Oops, forgot about that part. Let me just stop this again. Probably make this cave room a little bit longer. And there we go. I set up a quick washing system. I have 2 sets of fans for each part because luckily when you're washing stuff, having 2 fans on the bottom block and the top block counts as cleaning the same thing. And I've placed a chute down here that will take dead bushes and just put them straight into lava as we don't need them. And any gold nuggets will go through the funnel into this barrel and then out the other side. Then of course we are still making terracotta as well, so that is coming through here. And another thing I kind of forgot to do over here as well is actually place down another smart chute here with some lava underneath and put some flint in, because that is one of the byproducts and we don't want that going into here because it will just sit there forever. Now officially this should all be working rather nicely. I'm hoping the flint is getting thrown away, although I am definitely seeing the flint get thrown in still. Possible that I might have to move this chute back by one, or maybe it's just going through it so quickly that I might have to add a couple of chutes. I think if I add another one here just behind it, that might be enough for what we actually need to pick up any of it. And that does appear to be the case. So now we should only be getting sand and clay in here. Now I guess the only real problem is that I'm pretty sure I am making significantly more clay than I probably need to. I may set up some extra fans underneath this belt so I can get this belt moving a little bit faster than it currently is. Because for some reason I thought I would struggle more with keeping up with clay. I should really do the math of these things sometimes rather than just kind of making it on a whim, but whatever. And yeah, there we go. I have set up some lava underneath and that is now cooking it a bit quicker so we can speed up this rotational speed controller maybe by about double. We'll see if that helps. In fact, actually everything is backing up at the moment because I'm not actually having it to go anywhere. Yes, that does appear to be working now, and that's at least now going double the speed that it was. I think the system might still be going too fast for it, but you know what? Whatever. It's good enough. Now, I think the last thing I want to do is get this place decorated up. I need to grab some resources, but we're going to head into time-lapse mode. And there we go, much decorating later, and we're more or less done with what I wanted to do today. I decided to create a tiny little village next to the mine shaft, as that's kind of where the workers live. We've got a crane and some of these shipping containers which contain the terracotta and gold nuggets respectively. We also have this little bit of platform that isn't actually for anything, but I felt like it seemed a bit empty without it. And then we've got this kind of lift shaft thing, which of course doesn't actually connect to anything, but at least makes it look like the lift is controlled by something above. But now if we actually go in, we can go into our lift here, go down into the gold mine, and you can kind of see I've decorated the lift shaft too. But yeah, here we are down in the mines. I've obviously decorated this room with a bunch of leaves, some cave vines, tuff, coarse dirt, etc. And off into this room is our gold mine, where we obviously have all the grindstones there, turning it into sand and stuff, and then washing it to become clay and turning it into clay balls. And I think this room definitely looks better than what it did before when it was just one massive square room. So pretty pleased about that. And of course we come over here into our kind of furnace room where we're converting it all into terracotta. And once again, I used a mix of basalt and blackstone, threw in some lava and some magma blocks. And then once that's done, we come into here where it's split into terracotta and turned into red sand, which is then making us some gold nuggets before being sent off up into those chutes there before being shot all the way back up to the outside, where it's coming through the center here and going into each of the shipping containers. But yes, anyway, thank you everyone for watching today. I really appreciate it. Sorry that the videos have been a bit here and there. This video is 2 days late, as some of you may have been aware. I think in the future that I may aim for Thursdays instead, or at least one video a week and not restrict it to a single day, but we'll see. But anyway, thanks again everyone for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye for now.